Hi there, it's Nick, and
Oh, sorry. Hi. Oh, yeah. Somebody was coming through the door, so I was lost
all
for a
right,
bit.
Tom. Okay, so we're going to do renovation assessment for number 20 Browning Avenue, Halifax.
That's the one.
Nice little house made of sandstone, it seems, and on a classic kind of picture postcard, Halifax Street on a hill. So all very charming. And I'm going to share a screen and then we will get into it. So the objective today is to go through the footage, discuss the issues that need to be attended to, prioritize them, and then we're able to put together a quote and we can go from there. So it's all relatively straightforward stuff. All right, we've got, do we want to do video or photographs first?
Then go with the video first. So if we can start with the front of the house,
All right, well, let's
which
see what we got.
is that, I think that's probably the back. It's one of these houses that the back and the front look like they're both fronts.
They do, don't they? Okay, so I'm looking for MP4. Let's just filter this. I think that's the easiest way.
Oh yeah, go by type to start.
Oops. Type. There we are. And hopefully we'll see the videos at the top. If not, they'll be at the bottom. Okay, there we go. Which one is the one
So
we start with?
let's go to the bottom, and I suppose it'll be the last one on this list. Yeah, the one with the
With the giant finger
is that an
pointing.
M4? Yes, that's the one.
Okay. And I'm just going to go F11 so it makes it bigger for everyone. All right. Charming little house, sandstone. Now, first thing I would say um, is there a benefit in jet washing it? So you see next door they've cleaned it. Is that sandblasted or jet washed, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, because it's a rental, I'm not sure if that kind of expense would pay off.
I think you're probably right. What
I don't
would
think
pay
people will
off
be
is fixing the gutter. So you
that.
can see
Yes,
here there's a leaking gutter here which
well,
needs to be.
because it's a wooden gutter, so all the neighbors have
Really?
replaced to plastic, which looks the same, but we are still on a wooden gutter, so it definitely needs to be replaced for the PVC one,
Absolutely.
which is my finger pointing there.
It's not a real hand, by the way. It's a kind of giant plastic hand. He's holding it behind on a stick behind the camera. Sorry, I'm being random.
Yeah. By the way, I met both neighbors, both really nice, so that's a plus.
Well, I would imagine it's places like this that you do get nice neighbors.
Very nice neighbors, yeah, on both
Yeah,
sides.
just nice people, nice little house, nice neighbors.
The pointing and all the brickwork looks fine, so I don't think we need to do any work in the
Tidy
front.
up the
We should
ivy.
maybe remove it, or at least trim it a bit. I would think remove the whole thing
Yeah.
because it will start going inside. You can see that that's no good on the
And
walls.
all the gunk, all of this, just clear out
Clean it
all the
all up.
green. Now, one thing
The,
I would do for sure is jet wash the pavement. It's an easy job to do,
yes.
and it'll just make it really pop, as it were.
Now all the neighbors have a little gate. I don't think you need it,
No,
but
no,
the neighbors have one,
yeah,
so I don't think we need it.
but definitely jet wash all of this.
Yeah, clean the maybe get rid of the whole ivy.
Yeah, yeah, get rid of
I
the
would.
ivy, jet wash, fix
Yeah.
the gutter. So the gut, if we prioritize gutter, 5 out of 5.
Yes.
Ivy, 2 out of 5. Jet wash, 2 out of 5. But the thing is, they're both really inexpensive to do, so they're worth doing.
Yeah.
You got the there. You've got the step, and I see some of the render has come off, so that might need a little attention.
And we could fix, yeah, just a step.
Door is
The,
in nice
the
condition.
doors look good. All the ceiling, all the seals on the doors and windows look fine.
Oh, that's good.
So they all look relatively new, the windows,
Yeah.
which is good.
All right.
Chimneys look
Is that the
okay.
police? I hear sirens in this video. Nothing
The
to do
roof,
with you, Tom.
they're not looking for me. The roofs, nobody has changed it.
Well, that's a good sign because it means it's a good roof.
Okay, the chimney I think is okay. There's no leaks inside, so we're probably okay with it.
Mm,
They do need maintenance normally you got to do them every 10 years, but
yeah,
I would say you could leave it maybe a couple more years.
it's nice. Looks good. Great camera, by the way. You're using a Google Pixel, aren't you?
You love my phone. You should get one.
I have. I
Oh, you
bought
got
one.
one. Okay.
I bought a secondhand Google Pixel 7 Pro,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I love, and it's got amazing zoom. It's a really, really good camera. Anyway,
Okay,
tools for the
that's the
trade.
front.
Okay,
So there is
what's
pictures.
next?
We don't need to see the pictures of the front because we
Yep,
covered it. Let's see maybe the back, the rear of the building. So we cover all the outside, and I think is
it's up here, isn't it? This one.
yes.
Okay, same story, gutters. And what about the standing gutters? Do they need replacing? Or these vertical gutters, should I
They
say?
look okay, but I think once we get the roofer to the gutters, they can take a look.
Yeah.
They will inspect them when we change the gutters and test them.
Okay, are they plastic or cast iron?
I think the plastic. They
Right.
looked all right to me, so I didn't pay too much attention to them. Um,
And this is where you park your car at the rear,
well,
is
you
it?
can park at the front or the rear.
Wow.
So
Charming little house.
yeah, so you can use either either door as your front door.
Yeah.
Again, the gutters are wooden, so we need to change them.
Mm.
Um,
Okay. The windows all look nice.
all the windows look fine. The
And what about the
chimney looks.
flashing and the ridge tiles? How are they?
I mean, the chimney's brickwork looks okay. Probably worth doing the flashing before it fails, because then you
Yeah.
have leaks and you got to do the inside. So that's something that you could potentially do,
Well,
or you could
it's
leave it.
possibly a good. Well, okay. So then the question is, do you have a different? You're then getting a different trade in because the trade has to deal with the lead
We will have
flashing.
to get the roofer, yes.
No.
So
Okay.
depending
So I
on
would.
budget, you could
Yeah.
consider doing the chimney now or doing it in a couple of years maybe. But I'm presuming no work has been done up there for a while, so it will need
Mm,
some maintenance.
yeah. That roof space is going to be so tiny. All right. Well, then we have some stills, I presume, of the
Yes,
chimney
so
and
there
everything,
is
so we can
some
see.
work needed on the brickwork towards the basement.
Mm.
The pointing
So that's
is
another
failed.
story. But I'm thinking more specifically of the flashing, because if the flashing is okay, then leave it, and if it's not okay, then obviously you
Yeah,
have to get a trade that
the,
trade
the
in.
there
That's
wasn't any
cast
leaks.
iron.
Yeah,
Those okay. So that's cast iron. That's cast iron, and therefore that should be kept because it's nice, and you can see it's cast iron because of the rust.
yes, they
Some
look good.
pointing must be done. So if we deal with the gutters, the drains first, I think repaint them would be the right thing to do. So assuming they're all cast iron, because that's really good
I mean, they do look. You can
guttering.
see the coloration there. Don't think that
Yeah,
happens on the
I would
plastic.
definitely go down. Right. So to repaint the existing gutters, not replace, and that's that. So that's probably a 3 out of 5 because it's reasonably important. That's very important.
All this needs doing. You can see this stone is starting to wear down by the door,
Yeah.
but
Is there
painting.
anything?
I don't
What can
think
you
we
do
can.
about that?
Well, you can replace them all, but that's a big job. I don't think
But is there a treatment you can use for the sandstone to basically glue it together,
we
or
can
does it need to be breathable?
we can look into it. I mean, the basement is very damp, and I don't think we can fix that
Okay, well, we'll be seeing
cheaply.
that now.
So you'll see the pictures. I think the
All right,
basement we should
so
just
definitely
leave it.
pointing. The thing is, the sandstone is eroding, but it's not that
Yes,
bad. Jet wash the area.
and I mean all the pavement here, all the tiles are loose.
Okay,
So
so we've got a couple of things going on here. One is a lot of health and safety, well, a lot of safety issues, a lot of like curbstones, and so that probably needs relaying. Gate needs
Then it's adjusting. I mean, the whole
Adjustment.
it looks like the whole wall has moved a little bit. That's why it's not fitting anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Again, it doesn't close. I don't think it's a big deal. If people
That
rent, I don't think they will. But it'd be nice if it does close. But yeah, I mean, you
okay.
can see all this is rusting as well.
Yeah, the problem with all of this is things falling and injuring people.
Yeah, so this
So
we should fix.
okay, so let's just pause here. So first thing, these slabs need to be taken up and relayed, and where they are, and but the thing about relaying these slabs is it's these are concrete slabs. They're really cheap, and it may just be simpler and better to
Do a new one.
to just put in new. Yeah, I would be. What do you think, Tom?
Well, it's obviously it's a cost and whether it's. I
All
mean,
right. So if
I
it's
think we have
super
to
economy,
consider
yeah.
how nice you want to leave this house.
All right. So let's say if we're going super economy and you really just want to do the minimum viable thing, don't touch the backyard. Maybe
Just
give it a
leave it. Yes.
jet wash,
Leave
and
it.
just clean it, and then you're there. And then maybe cement in the stones that are falling over. Don't even
Yes.
worry about the loose.
I mean, we could potentially put a bit of cement on the loose ones so they don't move. They'll still be
Yeah.
uneven, but at least it's steady. So that could be a
Oh, you
basic
could
kind
lift
of
them and put a bit of sand underneath and just
something like
try
that.
and
Yeah,
level.
just a
Okay, so
basic.
that then let's say that that's the best viable jet wash. Lift the slabs that have sunk, put a bit more sand in them, just get them level so they're not a serious trip hazard, and then and jet wash the wall, and then just
Yeah.
spruce it up. Now this is quite problematic because it's metal, and therefore you have to get a welder in to deal with it, and
I
that's
mean, I
just
think that the whole thing needs replacing. So whether who is responsible, you or the neighbor.
well, that's easily found on, well, we know because the next door neighbor,
They've done that
whoops,
one.
the next door neighbor did the thing there. I'm just going to pause this.
Yep.
I think I can do that. Pause. Hang on. Sorry about this. Right, back. Okay, with better lighting. Look at me. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again, and then we'll get back into it. And right, where are we? So we're saying the best viable option is just clean jet wash the backyard, jet wash the wall. That's not, yeah, I mean that would be the wall, but that's the next door neighbor who had the beautiful, who did the full renovation on their property. So we know that that doesn't belong to this one. So therefore, this belongs, this thing belongs here. And the problem is that
We could remove it and do something similar to the neighbor if that's something you
yeah,
want to do.
it's just, it's annoying because it's a reasonably, it's quite a lot of money.
Yeah. Or can we just remove it and don't do anything? It's a bit low, isn't it?
Question is, do you have to have the grab rail? I don't think you do. If it's only 3 steps, I don't think there's a, you know, I don't think there's a health and safety thing here around the grab rail.
We could just remove the one that is broken.
The line that,
Yeah,
yes,
just that bar.
that's
Cut it
the
off
answer.
and
That's the
smooth it,
absolute.
and that's it.
Well done. Yeah,
Just
that's
take
the
one off.
answer. All right, so that's the answer. Just remove the offending bar, and then it'll be good. All right.
Yeah, just so nobody can cut if they put their hands in there or something like that.
Yeah, so just hacksaw it off, paint it with gloss or something, and then we're good to go. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so let's go inside so we can start going
Which
from
one?
it'll be either, but if you go from the bottom up, so start from the bottom and make your way up. And that'll come in the should come in the right order.
All
Oh
right.
no, it won't. But anyway, you'll have to go through
Let's go into the basement first.
Okay, let's go there.
Because, well, why not? And the old pixel camera performing well in low light conditions. Horrific damp.
So yes, I don't think this is something that you can fix easily. So I think
Well, you'd have to tank it, wouldn't you?
so it is what it is. I think the basement.
Well, the question is it a usable space from a head height point of view?
Yes. So I'm standing there, no problem.
And what's that?
That looks like a door that has been used to block that, so it's fixed in there. So there's your electrics. There's some leak that came from.
Okay, so you got some very fragile plaster work.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're into the whole thing about health and safety. That's not safe or healthy. You're going to have to do something about it. You can't have all that mold around the place. That's a really usable space.
It is a really good size basement, and it's tall. There's water down there with a sink.
And what's that hatch leading to? Do you know?
That hatch goes to the underfloor. So the basement is only half of the house.
Got it.
And the front half of the house, there's no basement, but there is a big sort of underfloor space.
This would make a lovely extra bedroom, wouldn't it, if it was done right?
Yes.
Okay.
There is pictures of inside here with a flash.
Oh, very good.
And there's a little, what it probably used to be a toilet there on the left.
All right. So the real, for me, a huge question. Very nice. All right. So this is a big question. And it is, do you renovate and turn it into an extra bedroom? Is it worth it? If you do, then obviously everything has to be tanked, and you would use, I don't know if you can see me, but you have a system. I'll just show myself. So you've done tanking, haven't you?
No, we haven't done tanking.
Right. Well, so the way it works, as I understand it, I've never done any serious tanking personally, but anyway, you have this stuff and you put a waterproof slurry on the wall. So you strip off all the paint and all the gunk from it so that you get a good bond, a good adhesion. And then you put this stuff, put the slurry on, then you adhere this stuff to the wall. And then, from what I understand, that's which way does it go? I think it goes this. That's right. Okay, so you got the wall. You put this against the wall. You've got these little gaps here, and then the water runs down, and then you have a pump which extracts the water. But the whole thing is basically behind this. So in this side, then you're putting you're fixing your plasterboard and your insulation and what have you. And this creates a waterproof barrier between the nastiness that we've been looking at and a wall. And so it's all fairly straightforward stuff and pretty well understood. And so I think it's probably, before one goes down the rabbit hole of pricing such a thing up, because it's a whole project in itself, I think it's
a big job.
The question has to be asked, do you want to do it? But I think, Tom, you should at least get some sense of what it would cost to do this, because
we can get a rough figures, but it's gonna be quite a bit. My gut feeling is that for renting, I mean, it doesn't make sense just as a single let. You would normally do that if you do an HMO and you get an extra room downstairs.
But this is 2-bed, isn't it? This house.
This is a 2-bed, yeah.
Yeah. So the question is that third bed worth much more?
Because I think we're talking about tens of thousands. And if you want it done properly, you get one that is guaranteed by the insurance, which means when it comes to mortgage and everything.
If you're spending like 30 grand, it's because you're digging a hole. You don't have to do any of that. All you're doing is creating a waterproof barrier, making everything look pretty, waterproof barrier, making sure you've got building regs for this, I assume, because you'd have to get that, and refurbishing it, making it look nice. So the first question is, is this something like the way I would look at it is from the point of view of yield. And I would say, if what is the value of the extra bedroom? Then once that's understood, then what is it worth spending on to get it? Because it'll increase the rent of the property by X amount. Then it's just doing your numbers and working out, okay, if I'm getting borrowings on this, for example, then am I prepared to spend an extra? You see, those could be cupboards. They could be basically built-in cupboards, and the whole thing would actually be, and it's got natural light as well, and it's got its own door. It's really, and it'll have its own ensuite. That would be a nice little bedroom. Be very interesting to know if other people have done this in the area. But anyway, the calculations are, like, if it's £20,000 for the sake of discussion, which it wouldn't be, but if it was, or £10,000, and let's say you get an extra 100 and £200 a month, for example, then you're doing some calculations on that. Oops. You do some calculations on it, and then whether it's worth your while. I don't particularly want to get into all the calcs, but because I generally find it better to do a spreadsheet of these things, but I'll show you. Right, so let's say it's £15,000 for the sake of discussion. And let's say you're going to get £200 extra a month out of this place. Would that be reasonable? 3-bed versus 2-bed?
Probably yes. I don't think it'll be much more than 200. We'll need to check, but call it 200.
Okay, so therefore it's for that extra money you're spending, 15 grand, you're getting a 16% return on your investment. So the question is that worth it for you, the investor? And if you think, oh, actually it is, then spend the money, do the bedroom downstairs, because it's going to give you 15-16% return on investment for the extra investment that you've made in sorting out the basement. And that's how you would do it. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get some ideas of prices for that.
Yeah, so really you just need to be very clear on the footage, whether it can be used as a bedroom, and then come up with some pricing, and also be very clear on the building regs stuff, whether that can be adapted to a bedroom, because there might be some issues like, for example, head height on the stairs or whatever. But the fact is you've got a door, and therefore you've got an escape, and you've got natural light. So I would imagine this is very doable. And if client is interested, then get Steph to do some research on local planning applications and just see what people have done, whether there are any applications for it. Anyway, there we are. But at very least, fix this. You can't have plaster falling down on people's heads.
Yeah, so failing that, I think we should do the minimum down there.
Yeah, and the minimum is you've got to put fungicide down there to kill off the toxic mold, and you must repaint with some sort of anti-mold paint, because this is really bad and must be treated. Okay, going back to this, which is the ground floor one, do you think? That must be ground floor.
Yeah, they're all in a different room. Well, let's go through them, and it's probably upstairs. Oh no, that's the kitchen. Okay, that's fine. That's the kitchen.
Right.
It's got a carpet that needs to come off.
I'm a bit bewildered about that. Why would you put a bloody carpet in a kitchen? Strange people. Okay. And then what about the kitchen units? Is it a new kitchen, or are you going to make do with what you got?
It's not a new kitchen. The main problem is if you look
do you place a new kitchen in there?
Well, if you look at the window, the sink unit is above the windowsill.
This kitchen is a mess.
Okay,
I mean, the ergonomics and the layout of the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, can you see the? Can you see
I'll
here?
just try and
So that is not great.
It's terrible. This
I
is
mean,
an
I think
awful
ideally
kitchen.
we need to take it all out and redo the whole kitchen. Can you
Okay.
make? I mean, that cooker is, it cannot go there because it's in front of a window, and that's not, at least in England, that's not allowed.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it needs to be redone. The walls are not bad. I think just painting and a bit of covering.
Mm. There's your door down to the basement, presumably.
One thing, there was no power when I went in, so I couldn't test any of the electrics.
Right. Well, that's usually a
Because the
load
meter
of.
was on minus £100 or something like that.
Okay.
So I couldn't test the
Was this a
heating or anything like that.
pay-as-you-go meter, or was it
Yes.
really?
So minus 120 red. Minus
Okay.
120.
Well, so you either have a fight with the previous owner, or you just take a deep breath and pay it, and then get the
And similar
electricity
for the
back.
gas, it was a minus something like that. So you got about £200 minus. So around the window, that needs to be. Obviously, here we need to see what's the problem with
Yeah.
that.
I'm just really unclear as to how you would lay out this kitchen, because it's such
It's
a
a tricky one, yeah.
weird setup.
It's a small.
But the good news is this is a house on a row of houses that are just the same, and other houses will have been sold,
Yeah.
and you can well, let's just do that quickly now.
So we need to do something with our window to lift it up a bit.
Right, so what's the postcode? HX3 9BB. All right, let's have a look at a few houses, see what we can see, and see what looks right. Oh, that's interesting. So they split the.
It's a different one.
Yeah, but they. Okay, well, let's keep looking. All right, sorry, this isn't very exciting watching, but it's quite necessary. Right, so that's the same. It's a much narrower kitchen. It's like they've
Yes.
split this somehow.
Are they the same? Second lower, so that's a cellar.
So they've got a kitchen, living room, and then I don't really understand that. Okay,
Or maybe they've opened the wall between kitchen and lounge.
So that's right. So this makes more sense. So they've got a wraparound kitchen. All right, I'm just going to leaf through a few more of these. And
okay, what could happen is that maybe they remove the chimney inside the kitchen, so they don't have that chimney that we have.
yeah,
that looks like what they done. They removed the chimney, which in our house is where the oven is.
Yeah.
So that gives you a lot more space to lay the kitchen.
Yes, that all makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that is the layout, yes. So we could look into that, removing the chimney stack.
Here we go.
Oh, see, this one they left a little bit of it.
Yeah. You wouldn't remove the whole stack, because there's going to be some structural elements to this. So you would do what these nice people have done, probably, and that is have these pillars in place, but strip out the guts of it and then make it pretty, and then have a vent. And
the window, you see, their window looks higher, so we've got to figure something out so we can put the sink in the front there.
Yeah. All right, moving back to this then. So this kitchen needs to go, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you see here, the windows look good. You got a blind there, you could keep it or not. It's okay-ish.
Yeah.
And that goes to the basement. All the doors need a bit of adjusting.
They do, don't they?
Sort of hitting the, no big deal.
Okay.
Probably change the lights to something a bit nicer.
Yeah, you can see that. So you'd strip out that and keep the pillars, so you keep the structural integrity of the chimney. Very important.
Because with that whole chimney there, it makes the kitchen very awkward.
Mm,
And it is, the units are very old anyway, so the sink is old.
okay. How much was this property?
We should have the price there. Give me one sec.
I'm just curious because it gives us a sense of what's reasonable to spend.
Oh, we could keep the chimney and just wrap around it. So I think we don't want to spend too much on it.
Okay, so we've looked at that, and then the next thing is the
Just
ground floor.
trying to find the price.
Or the rest of the ground floor. Is that the bedroom?
So we pay 95, I think.
Okay.
So now we're on the main bedroom, front of the house. Again, carpets, I think they need replacing.
Or cleaning. Depends how economy you want to go. But
Yeah,
replacement is
very
better.
good clean.
They're just not very nice carpets anyway.
No.
They're cheap carpets used in offices, basically. So carpeting throughout.
Painting, but this is
Yeah, painting, decorating.
Yeah.
Wow, that portable hand of yours, it works. Like it moves.
It moves as well.
Oh, cool.
The doors need painting as well, the woodwork.
And you got
I
some
think
damp in there.
a little bit, yeah.
Why is there damp on that floor? That doesn't really make sense. Rising damp at that point.
Could be condensation.
Peculiar.
So I don't know why that.
Don't know. It's strange.
Those built-in wardrobes, I think they're good enough to keep.
Mm.
Because it's a big job to take them out, and they're not bad. So I mean, all this is wallpaper everywhere. So
yeah, lots of. Sorry, that's the dog. He's very excited because, yeah,
you just got to patch it up. I think.
Yeah,
you could strip the whole thing, but
the only issue is the wallpaper is dropping in those ceilings, and there's been damp issues there, and so that's a problem. So okay. Horrible door. If you can replace that, would be a good thing. That is an awful door.
Yeah. So whether do you want to put a proper lock in there or just keep them like that? At the very least, they need painting.
Yeah. So okay, then right. So there's a couple of things that are you going to take out the wallpaper or are you just going to leave it in place and hope for the best? Is that the plan?
I think either, yeah, and again, it depends on budget, how much you want to spend. You could strip the whole thing out or just patch up where the paper is falling off as best as we can. And
I think that's what you do. You can inject it, can't you? You put some.
I mean, sometimes you can just cut a little bit off and then you paint. It doesn't look perfect, but nobody's going to be,
I don't think it's worth being all.
It's not going to look perfect. So
it's a charming little house, but it's going to be expensive. You could easily drop 30,000 into this without any problem whatsoever.
So I think we just patch up.
All right.
So that's we cut it a little bit.
That's that. So we looked at that.
So we want to look at the rear bedroom.
That's
the thing. Find that was a kitchen.
Is that the rear? That looks like the rear bedroom. Yes, it's a different bedroom to the other bedrooms.
I think that's a front. Let's go into it.
Well, we've looked at a bedroom, so I assume this is the next one. Okay.
Yeah, that's the rear bedroom. So again, carpets.
New carpets. Paint, decorate.
Oh, hang on. Is this the bedroom or the front lounge?
It's the front lounge.
This is the front lounge. Yes, it is.
Okay. So it needs new carpets. And then you've got this question about how do you deal with the door coming straight in the dirt? You have a carpet runner there, which you can clean. Well, it's in reasonable, okay, bit of damp.
A little bit. I think that's looks like condensation, probably.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of damp in the bottom of the chimney on the left-hand side.
Mm.
Right here.
Yeah. Okay, so the question is
bit.
that serious? Like, is that wood rotted, for example, or is it just discolored?
No, I think the wood we can repaint. So the question is, if there is damp around the chimney, normally it is the chimney outside that needs working. So
Yes.
you could consider doing the chimney at this stage.
All right. So it's just general paint decorate.
Mm. That's the ceiling. I mean, it's been painted, but not very nicely. Those blinds, they all work. They're just a little bit old and yellowish.
Okay, well, probably get new ones.
Yeah. The doors have got these very old-fashioned kind of ceramic handles.
Yeah, the trouble is
Change it or leave it.
that's
I don't know.
yeah, it's nice because it lets some light through. It's not nice because it's probably not safety glass, and if
No,
some
there's no
child runs
markings.
into it and smashes themselves, they're going to cut themselves open. Right. Let's see what this. Did we look at this one? Yes, we did.
So we done the downstairs now. We want to look at. We done the basement. We done the 2 rooms downstairs. Well, there's another bedroom upstairs and the bathroom.
This looks like the upstairs one.
Yeah. So I mean, flooring throughout the house.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of damp in that room. But that's possibly because the gutter has been leaking, and because it's a sandstone,
Yep.
solid sandstone wall, I assume. It's sandstone, so it absorbs water, and if you have a leaking gutter, then you will have damp. So I think that's what's going on there. Now,
I mean, the wallpaper here.
What's going on? That doesn't really make
It
sense
looks like
unless
a
that's
dog. Maybe might have done that.
right. Okay, so it's not damp.
So whether we just fill it and paint it, or we strip the whole wallpaper.
Mm.
I mean, if we fill it and paint it, the texture is not the same, but it's no big deal. All around
Well,
here is peeling off.
you can inject some wallpaper paste behind there and just
I think we should
push
strip
it, you
off
know.
the this wall
Okay.
because it's all peeling off around here. So I think this we should strip
What
off.
make good and then redo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe just do that wall.
Nothing that we've spoken about is kind of level 5, by the way. This is all bits and pieces, so it's nothing especially high priority. Now, one thing that's quite interesting is this nasty door.
You got a sliding door. It works. The boiler is in that cupboard.
Mm.
You got a freestanding wardrobe in there. You could keep it there.
Beautiful countryside around there. Look at the hills.
Yeah.
Charming.
Nice. The windows are a little bit stiff, but I think that's because they haven't been used. They look good enough, so I would just keep them until they fail.
Yeah. Okay.
Just needs maybe painting the seals and.
This is an interesting one. I don't know. I would be inclined to change it, but it's an expense, and actually, you're not gaining much really.
No.
So you probably just decorate it.
I don't think it'll stop people from renting because it's a sliding door. It's got a weird thing that it's got a lock on the outside, so I would remove that.
Yes.
Because it should be on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah.
So let's just remove those hooks.
Okay, and you've got a boiler in there.
Boiler. And we're gonna need alarms, so there's no
CO2
smoke alarms or CO2, so we need to do those.
Okay.
Doesn't look bad, the boiler.
Okay, well, at least it's in a cupboard and out of the way.
So they got the thermostat, which is good.
Good. All right. Well, just again, it's not worth doing much with that. You just got to tidy it up a bit. Okay.
The wardrobe, the only thing is, obviously, it needs to be shifted around to do the carpets and the walls, whether it's going to break by the time we move it back and forth. So it might be that we just get rid of it because it's very difficult to work around the wardrobe. Obviously, it needs to be taken out of the room to do the carpets. And if it doesn't fit through the door, you're just gonna have to go.
Okay, and it's really important, like a 4 out of 5, to put a vinyl flooring on this.
Now, bathroom floor. I mean, this bathroom, it is small.
Well,
But
bijou, compact.
it's compact, yeah. So floor for sure, you straight onto wooden boards under there. But I think maybe a
You
thick
put a
vinyl will
hard,
just do it.
yeah. So do you put a new you put in a new lavatory, new shower screens. You might
Again,
even keep the shower screen actually.
so the shower is obviously it's old. But you could keep it. The door doesn't close very well. It's been installed on the window, so it doesn't fully fit. But I don't think you got any other options. I mean, if you see how it's been installed halfway on that window.
Okay, so what are we saying here? Is it a new bathroom suite? Tom?
Depends on budget. You could get away, I suppose, with keeping it. One thing inside the okay, here's the thing. Let me see if the video is there or the pictures. At the bottom of the shower, the tiling is loose and there's a big gap. That needs to be fixed because that's the leak downstairs. So there's a leak in the basement, but there's also a leak at the ground floor level, just under the bathroom.
Okay.
Which is coming from the shower. So we need to fix that. Once we start touching those tiles, it's quite likely that they all start breaking off. So
it needs retiling.
Yes, but do we remove all the tiles? It's a tricky one here because the whole bathroom is tiled. They are in good condition.
Again, it depends on how economy you want to go, and this really depends on conversations with the local lettings managers to see if this level. Again, it's like the calculation I did earlier.
Yes, is it going to rent like this or not?
Is it worth it? And so that will really determine how far you go with this property and how much.
So again, this house has locks outside the doors. It's very odd.
Yeah, well, let's not ask too many questions. So, okay, the question.
Okay.
Do you get a
whole new thing?
Shallower thing. You probably don't get a new tray. I think you keep that, but you tidy it all up.
So this, what can you do? I mean, it's just the way it is. It won't fit anywhere else.
Yeah, there's no.
That's supposed to go against the wall.
Again, so my sense with this property
now
is.
Look at down here. That's the thing. Those tiles.
Yeah, they all need.
It's not just about filling the gap because they're loose, but once we can try to just take that off and redo it, but there's a risk that the other tiles are going to start breaking.
No, you got to get all that off, and you got to waterproof it properly so that it doesn't leak.
We take all of the tiles around the bathroom, which means taking the shower and taking everything out.
It's
or
difficult.
do we just try to fix the bottom? It is tricky because once you start touching them, the whole thing can collapse.
I think you fix the bottom tiles and you make sure that they're waterproof. So you have some sort of backing so that it's the equivalent of you have a backing so that the water cannot get in behind the shower.
Now that tap is rusting, so then it's changing. It's a tiny sink, but
new lavatory.
At least you put a new toilet seat.
Yes.
You could keep.
If
you're gonna keep the shower, keep the toilet. So I think it's either we change everything or we don't. But maybe a new toilet seat because this is a wooden one.
Yes, and obviously clean it properly. And maybe get a new internal mechanism.
I think so. Yeah, that one is playing up a little bit. So
yeah, and those mechanisms are cheap to buy, and they make a big difference. Possibly a different towel rail.
So I think it is a question for the agent. What level of fit you need? If it's just basic, we just try to keep the shower as it is.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the bits from the kitchen going upstairs. So this is on the right-hand side of the sink. That door goes outside. It's all in. It needs a little bit of adjusting.
All the
looks good.
doors seem to be just not quite right. I wonder
No,
if the house has moved at all.
now
Doesn't look
all
like it, but
you can see there was damp here. All the wallpaper needs to be stripped out.
yeah.
Just completely loose. Obviously carpets.
Ooh.
Yeah, so all that is, I mean,
Yeah. So
yeah,
then the question is, do you reskim that, or do you replaster, or do you just repaper?
I think we take all the paper out, maybe not all the way up, maybe halfway up the stairs or up to there.
But it's going to peel off really easily. It's just old.
Because from here is all fine. So we just gotta strip this whole area out by the
Yeah,
door.
everything
That's
that was
probably
done.
from that shower upstairs.
Yeah. So the shower has to be done correctly.
And I
Then
think
this,
downstairs the leak in the basement is the same leak that is just leaked onto the floor and then leaked onto the basement.
maybe that would have to be a big old leak for it to work its way through like that.
Handrail is okay. Maybe
Yeah, it
needs
just needs
painting.
new gloss paint. So in probability, take all of that off because it's nasty anyway, and redo the whole hall.
So do we
Okay.
strip the wallpaper in all of the hole? That's a
Well,
big
you
job.
can't match it. So what do you
No,
do?
but does it matter? I'd be inclined to stop at the area where the roof changes,
Yeah. You
and
yeah,
then
you can have
you
an upper level, lower level, and do it.
yeah, and then you have a change of surface, but it's okay.
Yeah, people wouldn't
Paint it all
mind
the
that.
same color and it's
Yeah,
fine.
so where the floor, this level here, you have a line which runs there. So there's a natural demarcation, which
Yeah,
is
so we
on
do
the
a
next floor.
mark somewhere there, and
Yeah, you have a
because up
border
here the
you just stick
wallpaper
on.
is fine. It's not very
Okay.
pretty, but it's fine. They got this weird cable. I don't know what it is.
Ooh,
We can take the whole thing off,
it's
and
probably live when there's electricity on, and it's probably
so
going to
we'll
kill you.
we'll get the electrician, cut it at the bottom, make it safe, take all that off.
Okay. So and that was the bathroom that we had
Mm,
seen.
and that's
All
it.
right. Is that kind of it?
That's it. Yes.
Oh, it's exhausting going through all this. There's so much to consider. Okay, so in summary, this is all the about the numbers and about the cash flow. So my suggestion before you and Adriana and anyone starts putting all these numbers together, I think you've got to get your bearings and work out roughly what does the client want to do, and that's based on the numbers. And so my suggestion, Tom, if you want to be really helpful, is do some research, find out what the rentable value of these places. So Martin can, he can go through the historic sales or the historic lettings for these properties, look at condition, look at lettings prices, and the rest is just some basic calculations to work out what it's worth. So the property was 90,000, I think it was.
95.
95 plus other bits and pieces. You will get the stamp duty back on this because
Oh yeah.
if you reclaim, because the property is not livable, which is a benefit. But anyway, that aside, so I think that'll be about £5,000 or something like that. That aside, yeah, you just got to get your bearings on how much work you want to do on it.
So I think we're thinking. I think you're thinking to use Layla because she collected the keys. So I think that's generally. So
That's
we
fine. Then
can
she
we
needs to
can.
give direction. Yeah,
Yeah, she will know. So we'll ask Layla her
yeah,
opinion of how what kind of fit you need on it, what kind of
yeah.
standard, and we go from there.
Well, it's not a question of what standard you need because there's a range of standards you could have. You can go all the way and have the third bedroom, make everything beautifully done, but is that going to really give you a good enough yield? So the at the heart of everything is a simple equation, which is the yield, optimum yield, and that's determined by how much money you put into the property over the amount of rent you're going to get. And somewhere there's a sweet spot. And when you know what that optimum yield is, then assuming that you've got the cash to put into the property to renovate it, then that's your calculation. Does that, I hope that makes sense. So it's the cost of renovation over the amount of money you're going to get back out of it. And at some point there's a sweet spot. And it's a calculation. And once you know it, then you know where you stand. And then the other variable is, do you have the cash to do the renovations? If you have, then you can maximize the value of the property potentially. If for the sake of discussion, it is spend 30,000 and you will get £1,000 a month out of it, which you wouldn't, but if you did, fine, that's an equation worth making. So it's just a case of understanding all of this, where you're at with quality of accommodation over amount of rent you can achieve. So Tom, that would be really good if you could lead that investigation and come back with, say, 3 scenarios, which is absolute budget, talking to Layla, absolute budget, what are you going to rent it for? And bearing in mind, it's not just if you're renting it cheap. Remember that if you rent a hovel, you're probably going to get desperate tenants. And if you get desperate tenants, you're looking for trouble. So it really, there's a sweet spot, which is quality of tenant and yield you achieve. Theoretically, if you put the 30,000 into this and made it absolutely stunning, you get an amazing tenant, but you don't get great yield. So it's a spectrum. Don't go on the bottom end, probably not on the top end, somewhere in the middle. And that determines how much work you're going to put in, how much money you're going to spend, what your optimal tenant will be, and then all will be well with this lovely little house. So there we are. All right. Any final comment from you before I stop recording?
No, I will talk to Layla, get a good idea of the area and what she thinks, and we'll have a few options on.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you for getting through the whole video, if you did. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.